What's going on, everybody? It's ETA Prime back here again. Have you ever wanted to install a custom theme on your Steam Deck, or maybe some custom sounds, totally customize a fan curve, or even get better battery life out of it? Well, it's actually pretty simple to do with plugins, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to use an application called Decky Loader. Using Decky Loader is super simple. It's basically 3 clicks and you're installed, but when it comes to Decky itself, it has been on the market for a while. And if you're not familiar with it, it allows us to inject plugins made by different developers on our Steam Deck. And using Decky Loader couldn't be any simpler. If you can navigate the Steam Deck, then you can get this up and running and download your favorite plugins, within a matter of minutes. So if you're ready to get this installed, let's go ahead and get started. Now I will show you a few plugins that I personally like to use, and I will demo them. But first things first, we need to head over to desktop mode on the Steam Deck. In order to do this, what we're going to do is press the Steam button on our Steam Deck, scroll down to Power, and now we're going to choose Switch to Desktop. Now you can actually do this all on the Steam Deck. You don't need a mouse or keyboard. You can use the built-in trackpad, and there's only a few clicks we need to do, but we will have to open up a browser and download the application. Okay, so now that we're in desktop mode on the Steam Deck, we're just going to open up a browser. You can use anything you want. And head over to the Decky Loader GitHub. Link for this is in the description. Super easy to use. We're going to click right here to download. And this is actually going to go directly to your downloads folder, but we're going to move it to our desktop just to give it super easy access. Now that it's downloaded, we're just going to place it right here. We'll just move here. And now it's time to install. We're just going to double click. Continue. We've got the release or the pre-release. We're just going to go with the release. It's going to download everything we need, and the install is finished. So we can go ahead and close this out and move back over to handheld mode or gamepad UI mode. Now that we've got it installed, it's super simple to use. We're going to press the 3 little dot button on the right hand side of the Steam Deck. And at the very bottom, you can see it's integrated right here. So from here, we've got our Decky settings. There's really not much we need to mess around with in here, but we're just going to head back out, go back to that menu, and we're going to choose this little store icon. All of this is free to use. You don't have to purchase anything. And now we've got easy access to all of these plugins. So we've got the CSS loader, gives you a nice brief description of what this thing's going to do. We've got our system toolbox, deck FAQs, VibrantDeck, which is actually one of my favorites. You can change the saturation levels on the Steam Deck screen, and I love a lot of saturation, so I'm going to go ahead and install this one. We'll just install, and now we have it. So if we want to adjust this plugin, we're just going to scroll right down to it, VibrantDeck, and from here we can change our saturation and gamma. And I'll show you that in real time in just a second, but let's go with another plugin. So we're going to head over here. And we're just going to scroll down and find something good. Proton DB badges. We've got the audio loader. Replaces the Steam UI sound effects with custom sounds. We've got a Bluetooth connection assistant. Quickly connect to your already paired Bluetooth devices. Notebook. Power tools. This is something I personally love. So I'm going to install this one also. Quick to download, quick to install. Basically does everything for you. And the final one we're going to download and take a look at is CSS Loader. This allows us to install custom themes. We'll go ahead and install it. This way we can totally customize our Steam Deck. So we've got Power Tools, we've got VibrantDeck and CSS Loader. But you can just kind of go through here and see exactly what you need for your Steam Deck and download it. Fantastic would be another great one. This allows us to set a custom fan curve. Got music control, and basically just scroll through here, find out what you need, what you want to mess around with, and you can download it directly from here. Super easy to install everything. But now that we've got a few installed, we're going to move over to the Steam Deck screen so we can see what's going on when we mess around with these new plugins. Okay, so this is going to give us a better idea of how VibrantDeck is going to look, and we can take a look at some more themes and that Power Tools. So from our plugin section, we're going to go to VibrantDeck. And you can see we can actually disable, enable color settings. But for this, I want to set my saturation. Out of the box, this is at 100. If you want to go old school with it or noir with it, you can go to 0 and get that black and white look on your Steam Deck. Not sure how many people are going to be doing this, but We can definitely take that saturation up. And for me, I like around 140. You could go higher, you could go lower. It's really personal preference, and I've always been a big fan of a little more saturation. That's one of the big reasons I love the AMOLED displays or the Super AMOLED displays. But around 135 to 145 is where I like to sit. I'm not exactly sure how it's coming across on camera, but it's definitely taking that saturation up. And if you kind of want to blind yourself, you could go on up with it if you want to. But I'd say 135 to 145, personal preference, that's where I like to sit with VibrantDeck. And with VibrantDeck, we can also adjust the colors so we can go red, green, and blue with it. I haven't really messed around with it that much. I just kind of like getting a little more saturation out of this display. I thought it was a little dull in the first place. Next plugin we're going to be taking a look at is CSS Loader. This will allow us to install custom themes, and there's actually a bunch to choose from. So we're going to go to Manage Themes, and we've got kind of a little bit of a storefront here. We can filter by date added, date updated, most popular. I'm going to go with most downloaded, and you can just keep on scrolling, find something you like, and download it. We're going to go with 3 or 4 here, some of my favorites, and most downloaded is going to give you an idea of some of the best ones right now. We're going to go with the Switch-like theme, give us kind of a little Switch-esque interface. Round is going to be one of those that kind of gives us those round borders on our game images. I think it looks great. And one of my favorites is actually the Outrun theme, kind of a cyberpunk deal, and we do have some customization with most of these inside of the theme itself. So we've got 3 to take a look at, and we'll just back up and we'll go ahead and apply the first one. We're going to go with the Switch-like theme first. And as soon as we enable it, it'll give us the custom settings that we have. And from here, we can disable that friends list if you want to, but this gives us that straight across Switch-like look. Some people love this, some people don't like it, but you can actually mix and match also. So adding the round theme to something like this will give us those round borders on all of our game images. But we're going to disable the Switch-like and just go with round. With this one, we can set the corner roundness, and it might not look like a big change, but yeah, I mean, it really is. When you've been using the Steam Deck for a long time with those straight across edges, having those round borders does look pretty good. And one of my favorites is the Outrun theme. We're going to disable the round and just go with that. But yeah, this does kind of change it up quite a bit. And there's quite a bit of customization we have with this. We can change the accent color. We can change the font. I personally like it with this pink and blue. I think it looks really good, but you know, there are other colors to choose from. We could go with kind of an all blue look, but this really does change the whole aesthetic of the Steam Deck. So let's go with the blue. There we go. This theme really gives off kind of a cyberpunk vibe, and I really do like it. It's system-wide, so if we head into settings, we're going to get that same coloration over here. And like I mentioned, you can mix and match these themes. I'm not sure how well some would go with others, but I know like with the round theme, it does go quite well with a lot of these. So we'll just head back in here, and I'm actually going to enable round along with Outrun. It's going to round up those borders for me, and it looks pretty great. And the final one we installed here was Power Tools. Now this really isn't for the faint of heart, but it will give us better battery life, and in some cases we can actually get better performance out of the Steam Deck by using a tool like this. We can disable SMT from up top, and remember, we've got 4 cores and 8 threads. And when it comes to thread count here, a lot of these indie games really aren't going to utilize those, so you can actually totally disable them using that SMT, or you could just lower them. So instead of going with 8 threads, we could go with 4 threads or even 2 threads. We can set the minimum and maximum clock of the CPU and GPU. So again, for indie games, this will really help out with battery life. We don't need to boost as high with games like Shredder's Revenge. So we can actually take that maximum clock all the way down. We can also set a minimum or just kind of lock it at a certain clock. We can also set the charge current limit. And you know, there's a lot of settings here in Power Tools that will either, you know, give you a little better performance with your Steam Deck or lower the performance. And in turn, it'll actually increase that battery life. And I want to give you a little demo here on how well this does work. So I've got a simple little demo here. This is Sonic Mania running. We've got the brightness on the Steam Deck set to 100%. And this game is pulling anywhere from 10 to 12 watts from the battery. Now this is exactly what we need to look at right here. We can also check out how much is pulling directly from the GPU and CPU, but we're talking about total power consumption, which is really going to affect battery life on the Steam Deck. So this is actually a really easy game to run. I mean, it's a 2D game. We're pulling 10 to 12 watts from the Steam Deck, but it doesn't have to be that way. If we head over to the Power Tools plugin that we just installed with Decky, we can actually either lower the clock speed on the CPU, we can lower the clock speed on the GPU, but really the only thing I'm going to change here are the threads. So we're set to 8, we're going to go to 2. That's all we're going to need for a 2D game like this. And in turn, it's actually going to take our power consumption down to 7 watts. Now, going from 11 to 12 watts down to 7 watts might not sound like a lot, but when it comes to battery life, if you think about it this way, we've got a 45 watt-hour battery in the Steam Deck. Let's just say total power consumption was 10.5 watts from the battery. That's around 4.2 hours. But at 7.5 watts, it actually comes out to around 6 hours. Now, these aren't real-world numbers. These are just rough calculations. But obviously, I mean, the less we're pulling from the battery on the Steam Deck, the better battery life we're going to get out of it. And that's one of the big reasons I love using this Power Tools plugin. But yeah, I mean, if you're interested in installing this, super easy to do as you saw in this video. Want to give all of the developers a big shout out. I mean, this is definitely making the Steam Deck a lot better for a lot of people. I will leave the Decky Loader GitHub link in the description, but let us know in the comments below what your favorite plugin is and why you like to use it. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you've got any questions, leave them down below. And like always, thanks for watching.